Do you know what Title IX is?
No.
Yes, it's so.
No.
No?
It has actually helped us. Thank God we have like a soccer team, and we're able to play. First, we play with Score Arlo.
How has it affected you?
Well, it affected me because if it wouldn't have happened, us women wouldn't be able to play pro.
I don't know.
Yeah.
10.
Alright.
Yes. Yeah.
You play on the boys' team?
Probably not.
No?
Yeah.
Would you have tried to play on the boys' team?
Of course, if I'm good enough for them, of course I'll play with them. I mean, I accept challenges, don't I? Yep.
If there wasn't a girls' team, would you play on the boys' team?
Yes.
In 1972, Congress passed the Educational Amendments. Part of the law prohibits the discrimination against girls in federally funded education, such as athletics. This, however, was just the beginning of women's movements around the country. The movement not only began to free women from sexual racism, but also gave women a jump start towards other freedoms, such as the right to run their own business and financial matters. Since Title IX was passed 35 years ago, it has been subject to over 20 proposed amendments, reviews, Supreme Court cases, and other political actions. However, women aren't the only ones fighting for the right to play sports. Many other minorities and gays also took part in the fight for equality, as well as the ability to be free of war and find a peaceful world. Though the impacts were obviously countrywide, how did this movement affect women's otherwise everyday social lives? Although most women didn't start playing sports until 1976, when the amendment started to get the attention of many girls' teams, few girls had the opportunity to play on the boys' team until a girls' team was developed. This transitional period posed as many advantages and disadvantages for women like my mom, Heather Danhoff, who played in the boys' league of her school and was no longer allowed to as soon as a girls' team was made available. I was able to interview her to get her first-hand thoughts on how Title IX impacted her life.
Well, as I was growing up, I had always played on a community soccer league, which was technically co-ed, but I was the only girl on the team. And so I had played with essentially the same group of players from the time I was about 8 years old all the way through growing up through high school. And then it came time to go to high school, and there was only a boys soccer team, but that didn't really bother me because I'd been playing with the same group of boy players since I was very young. So I tried out, and I made JV my freshman year, and then varsity my sophomore year, and varsity my junior year, and I was a captain and a starter, and the only girl in the league. And it was a little bit surprising to the other teams at first, but you know, after a game or two, the surprise sort of wore off, and it was just a normal thing. And Title IX affected this experience because after I was playing on the soccer team for a while, all those years, then there became to be interest by other girls in the school about being able to form a soccer team. So they put together a girls' soccer team, which was a good thing. However, as soon as there was a girls' soccer team available, then the school board determined that I had to join the girls' soccer team and could no longer stay on the boys' soccer team. Well, Title IX was passed in the 70s, I think. So we're talking about, I was in high school in the early 90s, so the law wasn't new. What was new was the addition of a girls' soccer team to our high school. And as far as for why it was strictly enforced, well, because it's a law. So the schools have to follow laws. They don't get to pick and choose which ones they want to follow. Well, at the time I wasn't really considering collegiate athletics, so I really can't comment on whether or not I could have played at a higher level because I didn't try out and I never intended to try out. However, there weren't a lot of women's collegiate soccer teams at the time, and I don't think that probably I would have been able to play in a men's program. I do, however, think that my senior year I would have played much higher level competition if I had stayed in the boys' league. Did Title IX benefit me personally? Well, I didn't think so at the time when I had to switch teams, but now having 3 teenage daughters that are looking to go into college, I would say that Title IX did help not just me, but society. Opportunities that have been given to you through Title IX being passed so many years ago and the leagues being built up over time, and now the competition is very good, and I think that not only you, Jess, but for your sisters too, being able to participate in sports has been able to teach you things not only about athletics, but about time management and determination and commitment to a team. And I think that all of those things were very beneficial and helped me as a parent reinforce good character aspects. I'd never really considered it that way. I guess maybe it's part of history for that specific high school in Muskegon, Michigan, because I was on the inaugural girls soccer team, but I think of history as being something that's more long-lasting. I mean, you think about like historical women athletes, and you think about like Mia Hamm and Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan and people that played on the national stage, not, you know, the player that started the girls soccer team in a little bitty high school in Michigan.
Although this phenomenon of events ended up being detrimental to the progress of my mother's growth as an individual player, Title IX has positively impacted so many other young women in the respect that they are now free and able to develop as players. Women now also have the opportunity to become the best that they could imagine to be. The newest addition to the National Women's Soccer League, Houston Dash, is inspiring and encouraging so many young women to go out and do what they love. Club programs, private trainings, and many other technical and tactical trainings in sports of all kinds are offered to young women all around the country in hopes of reaching their ultimate goals, thanks to Title IX.